morning, everyone, and welcome to what is the final episode of Morning Markets for 2021. We thought we'd do something just a little bit different today and reflect not just on what's happened in markets in the past 24 hours and give our perspective on that, but really think about what's happened in 2021. Now, trying to fit a review of 12 months of what's happened in asset markets, how politics has played into that, is exceptionally difficult. But what do we know about 2021? It's certainly been a year of evolution, a year of continuing change on many different fronts. It's only going back 12 months ago when we were talking about in our final morning markets the outcome of the US election and what that would mean for policy. We've certainly moved on quite dramatically from there when we think about just earlier this week in our discussions around the challenges that President Biden has with passing his Build Back Better program, which was such a focal point of his election campaign just last year. But really thinking about that theme of evolution, I think we can break it down into three or four key areas when we think about what's happened over that time. And certainly the first one to mention is how true potential has evolved over that period and how we've evolved morning markets. Just looking back over the course of the past 12 months, seeing the original morning markets in the office, but then primarily through that whole period of lockdown, being at home in various people's houses and in their front rooms, if you will, recording it. We've now back into the office, we've got our own studio, you've seen the change that's brought. And then most recently it's become much more interactive with the use of the weather green screen, where we'll be able now to show charts, and we'll continue to evolve morning markets into next year. So if there are areas that you would like to see us address, please highlight them. We've really enjoyed getting the feedback from you, the viewers, over the course of the past 12 months. Turning then to markets themselves, there's real evolution. I've touched on the political evolution, the political challenges in the US. We've also seen that in other regions as well, if we think about China and the political backdrop there, how that's evolved and how policy direction there has evolved. I think really the other two things to touch on is COVID. That's continued to evolve. We had the earlier Delta variant this year to deal with and contend with the impact that was having on asset markets and areas of asset markets. We now move into December, and Omicron has now been the dominant word that we've all heard, we've all used, and it's certainly impacting sentiment, and that will continue to be the case. I think the other key topic of evolution then has been around that economic backdrop that we've seen globally and that inflation dynamic that we've talked about over the course of, I would say, probably the past 7 or 8 months. And indeed, probably at times we were coming in here to do morning markets thinking, well, here we go again. We're going to talk more about inflation. What are the viewers going to be thinking of that as a topic? Are we overdoing it? Well, actually, I think what we can say is that really inflation has evolved as well as we've moved through the year. The start of the year, it was very much associated with that reopening theme, areas of the economy coming back to life and seeing price pressures as demands was very strong. That then fed into other areas such as used cars, and we talked about used cars and the strength of prices there, and that certainly did and continues actually to feed into inflation data. The other word that we used a lot of and central banks used was that word of transitory. It'll start to come off, inflation will start to come down. Unfortunately, for those viewers that have been watching us through this period, you've heard us talking about inflation continuing to move up, and that's certainly been the key theme of the course of the year. And it does make you reflect the use of the word transitory. Actually, when you look up transitory and see how it's defined, it's an ill-defined time period. It's not specific. So probably a good use of a word by central banks, but really it didn't give us any context for how inflation is likely to evolve. To the end where it's time to take action. We've seen central banks across the globe start to react, both in emerging markets and in developed markets, to that inflation backdrop. The final area of evolution to think about is that which has happened from a policy perspective. We've seen fiscal support packages from governments being withdrawn over the course of the year for the natural conclusions that the economy has recovered, employment has continued to improve. We just look at the data here in the UK or in the US and in a number of other countries. We've also seen central banks reduce their asset purchase programs and also start to increase rates, with Norges Bank in Norway being the first to set us off in that trajectory. followed by a number of other developed and emerging market banks, and most recently that here in the UK with the MPC increasing rates at 0.15% up to 0.25%. So that changes, that evolution of policy, it's a natural conclusion to where we are in terms of the economic rebound that we've seen and also that inflation backdrop that we've mentioned. Thirdly, we've continued to see really asset markets evolve over the course of the year, and very good performances delivered across asset markets, be that in equity markets, be it in inflation-protected treasury instruments that have really benefited from that inflation backdrop. But it really speaks to the strength of the multi-asset proposition and why we at True Potential firmly believe that multi-asset is the way that enables savers, our investors, to do more with their money. And it's been great to see over the course of the year the positive performance that's been delivered for our clients across each of the core risk categories. And finally, for me, it's a thank you to the team here at True Potential from the marketing side, the team that sit behind the scenes and have managed to navigate us through all of these various different changes that we've had with technology. It's been great to see how that's evolved. So we've got Graham, we've got Katie, we've got Sarah, all sitting in the background that make this possible each day. So a big thank you to them. Also to the team as well that have stepped in and have started to do more of the Morning Market podcast. And also to you, the viewers. And please do keep coming through with the feedback, which we find really useful. It's helping us evolve it, and we want to make these as useful to you as investors and as clients of True Potential. Many thanks, and all the very best for 2022.
Subscribing to the True Potential YouTube channel is quick and easy. Simply go to the channel on your desktop or through the YouTube app on your phone and click the subscribe button. You can then press the notification bell symbol if you wish to be notified as and when new videos are released. Doing this is a great way to keep yourself updated with market developments and personal finance insights. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed, and we look forward to continuing to help you do more with your money.